Itemization is going to be an issue too, honestly, for me looking at it. But we are going to get back into the game here. Back to my point, the way that ZEG can play this in terms of the itemization is, again, it's just really tough here. They technically can just go for more magical defense, considering that, you know, obviously Burmese Ghouls have more magical damage. But if you ignore the damage, the physical damage coming in from the Yuzong, you are going to be in for a surprise here. Both junglers starting on the purple buff pin, going to have a better time in the jungle as the Fredrin here. In terms of the emblems, don't really see anything too crazy just yet. Oh, Zico though, in the gold lane already. This 2v1 proving to be a bit, you know, of an issue for her.
Well, Lunox does take a bit of time. Level 1, not as vulnerable as people think. There's a decent amount of sustain coming in as well, but look at this. This is Ku trying to make sure that he comes obnoxious attack. And look at that, Rosemary just taken very, very low. That Hilda presence in the early game is just so oppressive.
Papao though, doing pretty well as the Brody here, dealing the damage and also not really vulnerable in these fights. Actually winning out in the trades, but again, this Hilda is going to be a nuisance. Mira in the XP lane as the Terizla. This is a winning matchup. This is one thing that you can talk about, right? If you are from the side of Zero Esports Gaming, is the fact that they have the Terizla that is a winning lane. And if she actually plays the waves properly, she can actually constantly just bully and force the Yuzong to be at a level disadvantage by the time they both, well, by the time the level power spike hits.
Exactly, it's a bit of an unfamiliar situation for the Yuzong to be the losing lane. It's just not as common to see these days. But Terizla is just an absolute lane bully. And in the early game, at least, without items, the kit by default just punishes you for actually engaging in any sort of aggression. So for Zero, that is something that they can take advantage of. And you can see that Burmese Ghouls are already moving towards the top side. They're playing for the turtle, but with a quote-unquote losing lane, maybe Zero Esports Gaming can try and get something to happen.
The wave management here. Oh, Pin actually able to find the Retribution, stealing it away despite not having pressure. Ku now looking for some more. Now Blast charged in. That's the feather airstrike canceled out by Hyung. Looking for a massive play. It's a penalty zone to knock 3 members up. And it's still ZEG who finds the dub despite having the weaker early game on that Sicilian. 1 kill for Ecstatic. She must be ecstatic.
She's ecstatic for sure, man. We talked about Sicilian having a tough time in the early game, but now it's actually the opposite.
Dude.
Oh, it's began with
combos after combos.
The Numinum Blast, and then again and again. It's all the AoE coming in. And we talked about the Burmese Ghouls needing to dive in the back line, but they were the ones actually caught out in the combo of impunity. So, of ZEG. So that is unfortunate, but it's not over yet. It's only the beginning. So we talked about recovery being a big portion, a big factor here, and it seems like Burmese Ghouls, they're still trying to ensure they find some kind of success here. It's all in the back of Ku on that Hilda.
Venus just needs to really respect the enemy team, right? Sure, there's not a lot of dive threat to you, but remember, the flicker is still ready. You need to burn those flickers before you can actually, you know, openly feather airstrike like that. She just did not account for any of the dives, any of the CC. Rosemary was able to find a Numenal Blast, and without the Purify, you're so open, you're so vulnerable. You don't even have flicker now, and you can see they're chasing Venus down. They're still able to find a stun on Rosemary right now with the follow coming through. The feather airstrike finally comes down, and Ku actually picks up the kill. Definitely not the not what you want, not ideal if you're Burmese Ghouls, but a kill is a kill.
Kill is a kill. The pressure on the map is still very, very real. And this is where the Burmese Ghouls actually have an advantage. We talked about the burst damage being too much to deal with in the early game. If they don't get caught in a big 5v5 team fight like we saw at the Turtle early on, it's not going to be it's going to be pretty smooth sailing unless they make a huge mistake. Venus for sure needs to maintain distance. She cannot let them get close.
Yeah, that was just pretty sad. I was looking at the minions. Papao just barely missed the cannon minion here, but it's going to be the retry battle again, and Pin is just 2 on point here. Torn apart memory, already fully snacked, doesn't go for it just yet, goes for the stun, petrified up, that's the flicker out, but in the back line is going to be Mira who finds the penalty zone onto Venus, who's 1 HP. Laying on the other side, going to be falling to the hands of to Papao. Not CS is running away. 1 HP, just barely, but Rosemary wants to chase, flickers forward, gets the kill. Ku pops in. No, doesn't even pop in a sprint, just gets a burst of movement speed to get out from that mid lane. It is still ZEG who are winning in this skirmish. 5 minutes in, and the tier 1 in the mid lane of a Sicilian is going to fall.
Who would have expected this kind of outcome? And even in the bottom side, you do see that Papao on that Brody is finally able to take down a turret as well. They are just having such a good game right now. They're able to just make Burmese Ghouls confused on where to focus their attention on, and before you know it, their backline gets dived on.
That was so annoying too. Seiko was recalling in the bush. Papao had no idea. She just pops the torn apart memory, and guess what? She finds a recalling Lunox, who's then cancelled, and now she's gonna miss a few minions of the way, maybe even everything, because she's rotating to the mid lane. She's losing a whole minion wave down below because of the rotation back to mid Arashi. Oh man, Seiko's not having a good time.
Not at all. ZEG are the ones that are actually dictating the tempo. They're the ones taking care of the macro gameplay as well. This is a seriously confusing situation, and now the main engage is actually, I would say it's Peen, and the Retributions have been so on point right here. So Rosemary as well as Mira can focus on counter-engaging, and the Burmese Ghouls have no solution to the counter gameplay that ZEG is using against them right now.
I think right now, Zero Esports, they're just really playing the map well, right? They understand the power of every single hero that they have. They have the Brody who's ahead in lane. They rotate the Brody over towards the XP lane to actually go for some sieges here, knowing that, again, that's what Brody does best. Mira on the weak side of the map, she's completely fine here. 4-man gank is fine. The Brody's going to be able to find more value because he actually jumps in with the penalty zone, baiting out every single ability. And again, it's still going to be worth it because the tier 2 is going to be sieged down by Papao and Pen. Sure, Burmese Ghouls find a kill, but even if they get the tier 1, the tier 2 up top is just so much more value, and they get it for free. Turret down below still not taken down. They're not even going to go for it because Luminal Blast finds 2 members. It's a dive, and it's a disaster for the Burmese Ghouls.
And look at Ecstatic just picking up the kills bit by bit. The bad impact at this point. 7 minutes into the game, still doing a lot of damage already. Burmese Ghouls, they're just getting completely out-rotated, out-maneuvered, and despite having all these tools, all these options in the early game, they have failed to make any successful executions. As we take a look at the replay on that fight, you can see that Rosemary starts off with a big Numenor Blast. The flicker was very, very early, but yet there's just no option. There were no tools available to escape, and that will be 2 kills picked up. Tower as well, I believe. So as ZEG, they're just on a roll. They're backing away right here, probably waiting for the next neutral objective, and that is where they've shown that they have a huge lead, a huge advantage in how they set up and in how they have good targeting against the Burmese Ghouls.
Holy moly, Arashi. Zero Esports Gaming, 8-5, but look at the gold lead. 5,000 gold lead actually right now. Just based on the objectives that they have. Mira, weak side player, right? You can see it. Ku rotating, the whole team rotating towards Mira, but she's all good. She can just run away. Wow, Ku is actually going for it here. All the way under the tier 1. Even the feathered airstrike was popped in to clear out the way, to dish out the damage. But again, it's just going to be another good trade for the side of Zero Esports Gaming. They not only get the tier 2 down below, Mira doesn't fall. It's just a tier 1 that falls. And the waves are pushed in the way where the Lord's going to be completely free here. Burmese Ghouls, I think the idea was good. They wanted to get a trade. They needed, that's the only trade that they could go for, but the timing was just off with the Lord spawning here. And Zero Esports, again, with better rotations on the map, pick up a free Lord.
A free Lord for Zero Esports Gaming. And with they're already outmaneuvering the Burmese Ghouls early on, and now with this Lord, there's going to be a lot more pressure on the map, as it does seem like ZEG, they're trying to look for something else. Fortunately for CS, she's still able to secure her purple buff, but the orange might be a different story. But ZEG are on the bottom side, and looking at the items, the Lightning Truncheon is completed for Ecstatic, so this is a lot of damage. And if you're wondering how Mira is able to sustain for so long, she does have the Athena shield, and for the most part, that's one of the first items she rushed in. And Rosemary taking the opposite approach, going for the Radiant Armor.
That's a sort of our memory, sniping him off, but Ecstatic finds it with a bad impact anyways. Ku forced to use the sprint away. The Feather Airstrike in the mid lane only onto Mira. She's doing a real good job at zoning the members. Numenon Blast barely connecting, but still finding the jungler. And Ecstatic is able to pick up a mega kill. Seiko with the damage, definitely not enough. The Bulwark and the bad impact just deals more. Holy, 10 minutes in. How does Ecstatic deal this much damage, Arashi?
5-0 and 5, that is how, and now with that advantage, with 4 members down from the side of Burmese Ghouls,
10 minutes!
It will be a 10-minute game picked up by ZEG. The Malaysians assert their dominance. The wildcard region comes out on top yet again.
Wow, ZEG with their composition here that